Welcome to the Poisoner's Cabinet. I'm Sinead.
And I'm Nick.
And this is your weekly podcast exploring the lives of the great poisoners, macabre murders, and captivating crimes from across the centuries, and creating curious cocktails inspired by the tales that we tell. And it's episode 234.
Yes, it is.
Oh, we are just racing through all of these episodes.
Shining through them all.
I know. It's a number. Let's just leave it at that.
Yes, that's probably safest.
How are you, Nick?
I'm okay. Bumbling along.
Bumbling along?
Bumbling along.
Are you not saying your usual I'm all right?
No,
Someone
apparently
made
not.
fun
I'm
of
not
you?
allowed now.
Someone brought it up on Instagram. They think it's lovely. You've been working
Doing
hard
stuff.
on the cabinets.
Working on the cabinet. One of them is finished.
Woo!
The other one will have to wait.
It is quite resplendent.
It's quite pretty. I'm pleased.
We'll put it on the grid.
Took fucking ages.
Would you do it again?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you're going to have to.
I'm going to have to do it again because I've got another one to do.
Would you recommend people do it?
Yes, I think it looks good, but it's a lot of work.
More work than you thought.
Yes. So it certainly took longer than I thought.
Yeah, because you've got to throw it on some glue.
It's just lots of layers.
This is
And
gold
and then
leafing that
waiting
Nick has
for things
done.
to dry. It just takes time.
Yeah, but
So-
it looks
But it looks
very,
cool.
very cool.
It looks cool, and I like
Yeah.
it.
All right, well, we'll share the photos of it. Well done, you.
Well done, me.
Any poisonings this week?
Probably me, the amount of gold I've eaten.
You're not supposed to eat it,
I know,
Nick.
but it goes everywhere.
You're just standing there looking at it and just picking bits of gold leaf and just like, interesting.
Things you just breathe and it goes. Pfft. It's like living in the crystal maze, really. That bit at the end.
Get all the gold leaves. No, come out now.
It goes fucking everywhere.
Is it like that, or did you reenact that just for fun when you got
maybe
bored?
a bit of both.
Well, that's a good, productive couple of days that you've had.
Yes.
Exciting.
Exciting times.
Well, speaking of covering yourself in gold and reenacting the crystal maze, I think it is time for us to thank our delicious Patreon subscribers.
Yes, we should. So, thank you very much this week. Must go to Genevieve Chica.
Woo! And to Ray Kapsner.
Thank you very much, both of you darling people.
Beautiful, delicious, sexy, sexy Patreon subscribers. We had fun on Patreon this week. We had a mad story. We had a plane crash,
one. Yes, we did.
But there was a twist. It wasn't just one of those like, oh no, terror in the skies. No. Really mad story.
It was a bit of a mad story.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was
Yeah,
interesting.
one I'm surprised it's not more well known.
Exactly, yes. If you want to know what the hell we're talking about, please do consider joining us on patreon.com/The Poisonous Cabinet. This is where you can support the show, but for that, you get extra episodes every single week, as well as lots of bonus material. You get behind-the-scenes content, depending on the tier you're in. You get some video stuff that we put out there. We have a book club where we meet up on Zoom and chat about books and drink heavily.
It's very exciting.
And there's outtakes, there's little snippets, there's fiction. There's so much going on Patreon because we want to provide it for our fans. Please do consider joining us and supporting us on there. Also, we're very conscious that we have so many listeners from America at the time of this episode's airing, and many of you have joined us from TikTok, and TikTok may be going away
Not anymore.
forever. Well, fingers and toes and everything crossed that you guys can still use that platform because we love it. It's our biggest social media platform, and we've met so many of you because of it. We're still going to be publishing on TikTok because we're in the UK and we're able to. We are going to be doing more work on Instagram as well, and also on YouTube. Please do come and follow us on those channels. Whether you're in the US, wherever you are in the world, supporting us on social media really makes a difference because it does help to introduce us to people who might be into the show, and it just keeps this going. So supporting us on social media does have a knock-on effect. It will keep the sweet poisony goodness coming. So follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube wherever you can. Well, look, are you ready?
Oh, probably not.
You're gonna drink cocktails stoked by poison.
I think you need a cocktail.
It's on a knife edge.
Could go either way.
Curious to see what happens. I could go to sleep. I could go on a rampage.
Yeah.
Or I could just sit here and just say nothing.
Yeah, it's
I
going to be
could go
interesting.
very, very quiet.
It's going to be interesting.
Or we could drink poison and talk about cocktails. Would that
Yeah.
be easier?
Probably at this point, yes.
Would.
But
You know what? Surprise me, Nick. Surprise me
See
and
what
see what
happens.
happens.
see what comes out of the kitchen.
Well, we'll go with something.
Well, yeah.
Yes, because we can't possibly have a story without a cocktail in hand. As you know, dear listeners, every week we choose a secret ingredient that is inspired by the tale that we tell, and it will flavour our cocktail of the week. Nick, your
Yes.
story this week.
It is.
And the secret ingredient is
There's a mother-in-law.
a mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law.
I like that as an ingredient.
I'm surprised you hadn't had it previously.
Are you?
Yes.
What? It's not really an ingredient, it's more of an incident.
But they have come up in stories before.
Well, yeah, you're actually dead right.
So-
We've had many a troublesome mother-in-law.
exactly. So-
And many a loving one, I'm
and many
sure.
a delightful one. I'm sure there are many of both.
We should say
But
that,
they have a reputation of being troublesome.
yes, they don't get a good rap.
Indeed.
They don't get a good rap. I have a
It's not going
mother-in-law.
to get any better.
Oh, we're going down that route. Good.
I tell you that
Good,
now.
good. My current mother-in-law. Sorry, that makes it sound like I'm going to get a new one in the future. Not intending
When,
to.
when I trade her in for an upgrade.
Had them in the past. My mother-in-law, she's lovely. She's an absolute delight, and she couldn't be a nicer person. We should say the image we use to illustrate this, that we do on social media when we're teasing this, the secret ingredient. You picked a brilliant one. I had gone to Canva and I had found a selection of absolutely brilliant, like modern
like
actors.
stock photography type thing.
Stock photography of a couple and a mother just like glaring at the daughter. Or there was a series of one with a couple arguing and a woman standing in the background smiling. Like, bloody hell. Look up mother-in-law stock photography, you'll have a ball. But the one you used is a optical illusion
Yes,
that
it is.
happens to be called My Wife and the Mother-in-Law.
My wife, my mother-in-law, yeah.
And depending how you look at it,
Yeah.
some people see a young woman.
I'm struggling to see the young woman, I must admit.
Do you not see the young
No.
woman? Because I see her first.
Oh no, I don't. I see the old woman.
I see the young woman, then I go, no, there's an old woman hidden in there. There's a big-faced old woman there. But yeah, if you've
yeah.
not seen it, go on social media, on Instagram or Facebook or Blue Sky, and you'll see the picture. But I remember that from when I was a kid. That's been around for a long time.
Oh yeah, it's been around since like the 40s or something. I think
Yeah.
it's drawn. Yeah, it's been around a long time.
Brilliant optical illusion, and maybe a sub conversation if you want to about what are your favorite optical illusions. Is the dress white and gold, or is it blue and black? Or what's this magic eye picture?
Yes. Are these lines the same length? Oh, they are.
Oh yeah, was that Escher or something like that?
No, it's one with the arrows. You've got two lines, and then each end there's ones with arrows pointing inwards and one with arrows pointing outwards.
Oh no, that melts my head. That
And
absolutely
they look different lengths, but they're the same.
I can't because all I see is they're the same length.
They are the same length.
I know, but then everyone's going, no, they're different lengths. I'm like, no, they're not. But
Or
then
the-
there's other stuff
Or
where
the,
I'm
or the
like,
Escher stairs. That's I like.
the
that
Escher stairs are pretty good. Wonderful. Yay.
Yes, yay.
Well, with a mother-in-law then,
Yes,
as the ingredient, the inspiration,
yes.
what have you come up with?
We are going to have a mother-in-law.
Oh really? Oh, there's a cocktail called that, because I
Yes.
wasn't sure if you were down some
No.
sort of hidden trauma kind of route.
No, there is a cocktail called the mother-in-law, and it's a quite an old one. It's a bit of a classic as well.
Amazing. Okay. Is it going to leave a bitter
We
aftertaste?
shall find out.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I think it is high time for us to slink into the poisonous cabinet kitchen, which our mother-in-laws will say is not clean to her standard, and shake up a storm. So we'll see you in a minute.
We'll see in a bit.
And we're back.
Hello.
So, Nick, the mother-in-law.
The mother-in-law.
Oh, judgy. Judgy she is.
Yes, very
But
judgy.
It's very, very nice. It's a brown drink.
Brown drink.
Brown drink, quite almost see-through. Not see-through,
Yes,
sorry.
it's-
What's the word I'm looking for?
Clear-ish.
Yeah, a
It's-
clear brown
It's a translucent
drink.
thing.
Yeah, not cloudy.
Yep.
And brown usually works.
Brown usually does us no wrong.
Are you dubious about this
I
one?
don't know. No, I'm interested. I'm interested.
You're interested.
I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be okay. How okay, I'm not sure.
right. Okay.
If it's going to be mind blowing, I don't think so. But I don't think it's going to be upsetting.
You never know with the mind
You
blowing.
never know, exactly.
You don't know. Okay, right. Well,
No.
I think it's time for us to dive in.
Indeed.
So there we go. Cheers. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
To the mother-in-law.
Ooh,
Ooh. That is very pleasant.
that is very pleasant.
That is very pleasant. It's gentle.
I like that a
Got
lot.
a little bit of a kick to it. Got flavour.
Has flavours.
Starting to clear up my sinuses. It's not overly strong, but I can tell it's strong.
Yeah, it's spin it forward, we would say.
Yes. It's like a boxer, but hidden under a big jumper.
No, and I like that. Yes, a boxer hidden under a big jumper.
I don't know where I was going with it. You know what? It works.
It is. Yeah,
It
go with
does,
it.
yeah,
Go
yeah.
with it.
Oh, yeah. No, that's spirit forward, so that's a sipper. It's got good flavours. There's
Got some nice flavours.
There's something in there, though. Hang on.
There are things in there. This is true.
Is there something herbally or twiggy in here?
There's something herbally.
Herbally.
It's not a chartreuse.
It's
don't
not a
worry.
chartreuse. No. There's something... what is that? And maybe just because I just took a belt of gin and tonic beforehand. We need to serve a palate cleanser with
Yes.
these. We need a little bit of bread to clear our mouth. Okay, so Bourbon?
Bourbon.
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 Bourbon. So you get the sweetness from the bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do we have some sort of vermouth?
Ish.
Amaro?
There's an Amaro, yes.
Hey, look at me
Yes.
learning.
Which is where you get the herbally.
Right.
Herbally to
So
scrum.
the Amaro that you've chosen is...
Yeah.
Well, I won't guess, will
You
I?
won't guess, no.
Was it the Montenegro one?
It was the Montenegro
Yay!
one.
It's the one I remember.
It does call for a different one that I don't have, so I have substituted that
You
one.
bastard.
Because they're like 400 different ones.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get 400 different bottles. So
Amaros are nice, but they do have a bit of a herbally twinginess.
they do have a very herbally twang, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
so there's bourbon, the Montenegro
Yep.
Amaro. What else? How many more?
2 other things.
2 other things. Is there another alcohol in here?
There are 2 other alcohols.
So we got not a maraschino.
There is a maraschino.
Is what? Look at me.
Look at you.
I
3
said-
for 3 for 3.
Yeah, ignore me saying that.
Ignore the other shit, but yeah, let's go with that. You've
Ooh,
got 3 of them.
maraschino. Ooh, I'm quite proud. Do I stick with
Are you-
3?
yeah, exactly.
Do
You
I
stick
stick
with
with
3,
3?
or are you gonna go
or
and
do I
just
go for the 4?
humiliate yourself?
What do I win if I guess all 4? What do I get?
Respect.
No, fuck that. I've got respect-ish
Do you?
for myself sometimes. Do I get some bread? I mentioned bread earlier, and I'm quite into that idea now.
There's a seeded loaf over there.
A seeded loaf?
You can have a slice.
I didn't know I'd wandered into the Ritz.
I'm damn fancy here.
Tempting as that sounds.
Don't want my seedy loaf?
Do I try and guess the 4th? I don't think I can. But is it another? Is it a lick? It's an alcohol. It's not
Yes.
bitters. We're not talking.
No, there is some bitters in there
They're
as
bitters,
well.
and
but
it's not a sugar syrup or something because it doesn't taste so sweet. So it's an alcohol.
there is alcohol in it.
Oh, what is it? What is it? What is it? Can I guess it?
Think along the maraschino-ish lines.
So fruity, triple sec.
Yes.
I did it! Bring on the loaf, Nick. Bring me bread.
Bring the party loaf.
Hey, I don't know
Look at
how
that.
that happened.
No, neither do I.
I think my malaise, my general malaise this afternoon has made me some sort of savant. I don't know.
Let's not go too far.
Okay, hey, so shall I just reel off the ingredients
yeah,
again?
absolutely, yeah.
So you have bourbon,
Bourbon.
we have the Montenegro Amaro, we have maraschino, and we have some triple sec. Oh my god! And a dash of
Angostura.
Angostura bitters. What's the quantities in this?
Well, this one was measured in mil because of the recipe I found. So it's 60 mil, which is 2 ounces of bourbon.
Yeah.
And then you're looking a third of the other 3. A third of an ounce, 20 mil of the other 3.
Okay, you could have just said that. You should have said like 2 ounces, third.
Because it just, I did it in mil and I had to work out what.
It happened while you were speaking.
Yes.
Right, okay, that's what happened.
The 20 was a third of 60. I was like, oh yeah, it's a third.
I was still like, oh my god, he's the greatest mathematician I've ever
Maths.
heard. That is nice. I
Yeah,
like
I like
that. The Montenegro does give it a tiny bit of a herbally thing, which some people may find a little bit me, but tasty.
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 It has sort of, hints of a red hooky sort of thing.
Not as sweet.
But not as sweet.
But still, 2 ounces of bourbon. And
2
all
ounces of
that.
bourbon is
It'll
hefty.
get you there.
Oh yes.
Yes, things will
Ooh,
happen.
yes, it will.
All right. Well, I think it's very important for us then to progress.
Yes, to start reading before my eyes give it out on me.
Well, Nick, with the mother-in-law firmly in hand, because
Firmly
we're
in hand.
friends. We're friends.
We love a mother-in-law.
She's been very good to us. Is it time for a story?
It certainly is.
Hooray!
So this week,
Yes.
we're going to be taking a look at the story of Elizabeth Duncan.
Okay. Familiar.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it was one I had never come across at all.
I may be thinking of Isadora Duncan,
Right, that's a different person.
dancer.
So, yeah, not that person.
Not her.
Not that person. So this is one I found in one of my many random murder books.
Okay.
And I thought she deserved a wider audience. Because it is an interesting and amusing tale.
Oh, good. We've got the bands this week. have we?
I find it quite funny. There are
Wonderful.
some very, very amusing moments amongst the murder. There are some very amusing moments. So Elizabeth was born in 1904 in Kansas City, Missouri. Now, I know nothing else about her upbringing. No idea what's going on there.
You mean do the
Do
line?
I have to do the thing?
You have to do the thing.
I'm now contractually obliged to do the thing.
100%.
Okay.
Everyone poised?
Not much is known about her childhood.
Yay! People wearing the t-shirt and going, hey, he said it! He said it!
The only thing we can surmise is that she developed into a very determined, focused, and protective woman
Interesting.
as she grew older. So, I mean, these are all admirable traits, and she ended up a single mother So again, all very admirable qualities that you would look for in such a person. She was also an absolute nightmare in other respects. She had been married at least a dozen times.
Sorry, what now?
Some people put the number around 16. She herself remembered 11, but said it could be more.
What? By what? By what age?
By what? Well, when we meet her for this story, she is late 50s. But these many husbands have sort of since her many husband dates are past her by this point.
But okay, so in her 50s, assuming she started wedding, hopefully at 16.
One would assume that sort of age.
So that's carry the two. But Jesus.
Yeah, it's many husbands, and she couldn't say. She herself can't quite remember the number of husbands there were.
Okay.
Now, before we get carried away with thoughts of piles of dead husbands hidden in cupboards and such, the husbands are fine.
Oh, they're all fine.
They're all fine. They're not happy. They're
not happy in the cupboard.
They're angry and probably frustrated and probably quite upset and pissed off, but they're very much alive.
Right. Okay.
So she would entice her husband-to-be by saying that she needed to marry in order to claim a large inheritance, a fortune that was coming her way, but she had to be wed. She had to be a married woman to be able to claim this fortune. And of course, if you marry me, you'll get a cut. And once we've got the money, you can go your separate ways and la 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 la. And many, many, many men fell for it and went, absolutely, yes. But rather than being a fortune coming to them, she cleared out their bank accounts. And then left, marry the next one. More often than not bothering to divorce the one before.
Right.
But just marrying someone new.
Bigamy,
trigamy, quadruple me. all of them. We're not quite sure.
Go me, swallow it.
how many she was married to at the same time. The ones who were divorced then got stuck with alimony.
Oh my
paying
God.
her support and things like that.
How?
So she she lucked out either way. She got money from men.
Right, love it. Okay, no, bad.
In a variety of different ways.
That's reassuring in the context of this podcast that she was marrying people in order to gain their money and then move on, rather than her. I love him each year. This one, he's my true love 16 times.
Now, we know that from her various relationships, Elizabeth had at least 2 children. We know she's got a son called Frank, who was born around 1927, and a daughter, Patricia, who died in infancy.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, I was about to do a joke about the name Patricia, and then you went, died in infancy. Oh,
no joke. Not the point for a joke. No, right. So she also, some people think she also laid claim to 4 other children as well, but we don't know names or dates or anything like that. So it's possible she had up to 6 children. But what we do know was that Frank was the golden child. Yeah. Frank was the apple of his mother's eye. Frank could do no wrong. The absolute favourite. She can't remember the other one's names or where they are now or what they're doing, but Frank is God.
Yeah.
Frank Child is amazing.
I mean, I can relate.
Yeah.
Because my cat is called Frank. And he's my one boy.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing more of you and Elizabeth than I had realised when I wrote this episode. So, let's see how long the similarities continue. Young Frank was always at his mother's side.
He was.
I mean, the husbands came and go, but Frank was there, a special little guy. And when Frank is young, this is grand. Yeah. Sort of, she was considered an overly enthusiastic mother. But that's no fault, really. That's just, she's very enthusiastic and very caring and worried about her son. I mean, so I sort of imagine her at sports day, sort of cheering with signs and placards and things. Go, Frank, go!
If anyone tackles him, she's just straight in there, kicking that child in the face.
Yeah,
like, no!
But this sort of level of enthusiasm never seems to wane. It never seems to sort of calm. And as Frank gets older, his mother is always there to cheer him on, being his loudest and proudest supporter. Yeah. I mean, really, whether he wants her there or not, she's there. Go, yay, Frank! You're the best, Frank! So,
Aging Dr. Freud.
The relationship between Frank and his mother was an odd one. Now, some people labelled it incestuous. There is no evidence that it was that, but it was certainly, they were very close, and it was a very unusual relationship. As Elizabeth gets older, the frequency of her marriages starts to sort of slow down and stuff. So she's
a woman has to.
She's got less and less and less husbands, and in the end, she is entirely relying on Frank for any of her sort of emotional needs, support. It's Frank. Frank is the one who is her rock. By 1956, when our sort of story really starts, Frank and Elizabeth are living in Santa Barbara in California. Frank is 27 years old, and he has just completed his training as a lawyer. He was just beginning to make a career for himself in the city. Now, of course, he is still living with mother. He's not a married man or anything like that. I mean, she wouldn't have it any other way, even if he wanted to. No. Elizabeth took to tracking his work as a lawyer, the cases he was working on, where he was going to be, and you could be sure that anytime Frank was due in court, Ma Duncan, as she was known, was sitting in the gallery watching. She was there watching her son in action. In court, whenever Frank gave a statement, finishing questioning a witness, or gave a closing argument, Elizabeth would leap to her feet with applause and cheers. Yeah, really supporting her son. On the flip side, whenever a sort of opposing counsel perhaps countered an argument that he had made or disagreed with someone, she would boo and hiss at the other man who was sort of dared to contradict her beloved Frank.
It's not panto, love.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like... Now, Frank's colleagues and sort of his peers pleaded with him, you need to sort this out. You need to make her stop.
How can he be taken seriously?
Well, exactly. She is making you a laughing stock in the sort of lawyering community. No one is going to hire you. No one is going to take you seriously if you've got your mother in the gallery cheering you on. So you need to sort this out.
Him probably just sort of like crawling in on himself, but also stand up to your mother.
Stand up to your mother.
Stand up to your mother. Tell your mother, no.
I mean, she's there with the sort of big glittery placards going, "Go Frank," and sort of vuvuzelas or something. She's in court.
She's trying to start a Mexican wave that no one wants to be part of. I say F, you say rag. F, no one? Really?
No one else is joining in.
They were like, your rhyme was bad.
Now, I mean, so despite Frank's sort of smothered upbringing, he had actually grown into an intelligent, thoughtful young man. Yes, he was slightly insular. He had never really been allowed the freedom to go out and make his own friends and stuff like that. But he was a clever young chap, and he knew what his mother was doing was not normal. That this needed to stop. And he had on occasion sort of tried to explain to her, look, you need to calm down. I love you, but you need to back off. She would absolutely, of course. I know, I'm being silly. I'm sorry. I just love you. 2 days later, she's back in the courtroom. Yay, Frank! Yay! It doesn't help.
Well, she's not necessarily the most stable of people, given that she has committed a massive amount of what can be termed as fraud.
Fraud, yes.
Yes. or just, duping people into it. Sees men as expendable, and now she has her son, and he is the perfect being that she has produced. It doesn't seem like a sensible lady. But then again, plenty of people have done that who have just had a nice quiet life.
Yeah, but I mean, now this is impacting Frank's his career. This is impacting. He's never going to find a girlfriend or a wife if his mother's hiding behind every hedge.
She'll stab the bitch.
so he has no chance, but he needs to have it out with her. He needs to. Right, come on, you need to sort this out. So he does, quietly but firmly.
Okay,
he tells her, things cannot go on the way they are. I need find my own way. I need my independence. I am going to move out. I'm moving out of the house. I'm going to get my own apartment.
Yes.
Yes, of course, I will come and see you every day. I'll phone you, but I need my own space and to live my own life. Elizabeth loses it. Screaming, shouting. She's hysterical. She's, how dare you? You don't know what I've sacrificed for you, how ungrateful you are, how much you owe me for the life I've given you. She's throwing all this back at him to make him feel guilty. Frank lets her rant and he leaves the house.
Good on you, Frank.
He's just like, yeah, okay, fine, but he leaves. He let her calm down. When Frank is out of the house, Elizabeth takes an overdose of sleeping pills.
Oh my God!
And calls an ambulance.
What the? Oh yeah, of course.
Of
Oh yeah, if you leave me, I'll kill myself.
As soon as Frank hears this, he is beside himself with guilt.
Jesus,
He has forced his mother into taking such drastic action. He rushes to the hospital, full of apologies for even thinking of leaving. No. Now, obviously, Elizabeth is lying in hospital, now overjoyed that Frank is never going to leave her ever again.
Yeah.
Because
she knew how many pills she took.
She knew exactly what she was doing. She's delighted. And while she's lying there in hospital, Frank visits every day. But much to Elizabeth's increasing concern and a rather increasing annoyance, she didn't seem to be the one he was paying much attention to. She wasn't the highest priority when he was at the hospital. So one of us, Frank, I'm here. I'm dying.
Oh.
You see, the first time Frank had rushed to the hospital to be beside his mother, he met the nurse on duty that night.
Oh, I love it.
Olga Kupchink, my excellent Polish pronunciation. And it was like a movie. They ran in slow motion towards each other. The world slowed down. Birds were tweeting. It was love at first sight.
In a hospital. Birds there. People dying. Someone bleeding to death.
But they were doing it romantically.
Yes.
They were smitten.
Love at first sight.
Love at first sight. Both of them head over heels.
Gorgeous.
Couldn't believe it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Elizabeth is forced to watch from her bed.
Oh no.
As their love blossoms in the hospital. And she's lying there grumbling, telling anyone who would listen that Frank would never leave me. No, Frank's my boy. He's never going to leave. And Frank is smooching Olga in the corridor.
Ooh, yeah. Catch yourself on, love.
Back when Elizabeth is released and they go back home, Frank decides not to tell Elizabeth about his relationship with Olga.
It must have been great for her because he was coming in twice a day to see his mother. Because you see, my son, he loves me so much. He brings me gifts. I'm sure you had some flowers. No, I didn't.
Yeah, so Frank decides we'll keep that quiet. It was just an infatuation at the hospital. It's gone. It's past. He's not there anymore. He's not talking about her. It's fine. It's all over. It's all over, and I don't have to worry about Olga. It's fine.
Of course, because out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
There's no way that he could possibly see her outside of a hospital setting.
I mean, obviously, in the meantime, Frank and Olga are shagging like rabbits. They are continuing their relationship, and things are going faster and faster until the inevitable day.
Sorry, you made the analogy about rabbits. It's faster and faster. Like, what are they doing?
The relationship is going faster and faster, is picking up momentum.
Yes,
until the inevitable day when Olga announces she is pregnant. Olga falls pregnant.
Well done.
Now, Frank realizes that he cannot keep this pretense up any longer. He needs to marry the woman he loves.
Absolutely.
She's pregnant. They need to get married. And he needs to tell his mother that they're going to get married.
And you know as well that is Olga in there kicking him in the ass. Like, you want the prize. Sorry, mate. Yeah. We're shagging and everything. Oh, my mother will be upset. I need a ring on my finger.
Exactly.
Right? Get in there and tell her I'm pregnant.
Yeah. Now, Frank does go in. He tells Elizabeth,
oh, Jesus.
Olga's pregnant. No. We are going to marry. Nothing you can do to stop it. Cue another terrible shouting match, which ends in Elizabeth storming out the house in search of Olga. She's going to track down Olga. And she does. She finds her. So Olga's just about to go into her apartment. And in the street, Elizabeth is yelling profanities at her. So, you'll never marry my son. I will kill you first. So, yeah, Elizabeth is yelling at Olga. But Olga is made of sterner stuff. She is not threatened or put off by this crazy Ma Duncan. And she's not going to let her get in the way of the true happiness that her and Frank have got and their child and things. So she and Frank are married on the 20th of June in 1958 in a quiet, rather secret, hidden ceremony, hidden well away from Elizabeth. So she can't get up there and go, I object. So Elizabeth knows nothing about this.
Good for Olga.
Yeah.
I mean, good for Olga for standing up for herself, but also poor Olga for, your wedding day, you might want some ceremony, you might want something, but having to squirrel away because some mad bitch might come and burn the place down.
Yep.
It's a shame, but also we're getting this done. Then you're married. The certificate is
done.
there.
The certificate is there. We are going to be legally
and the
married.
child is protected and everything like
There's
that.
nothing she can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing she can do. Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Oh, Nick. And just as you said that, I realised what podcast we do. And I'm not kidding. I was like, no, I fucking love this. This is great. She's going to, oh, shit, it's true crime. Shit.
So now they are married.
Yeah.
Olga is pregnant. This does leave Frank with a problem. His mother doesn't know that they are married.
Yeah, just don't talk to the mother.
But they live together. He lives with his mother.
Still?
Yeah, still. No, at this point, he still lives with his mother.
Sorry.
He still lives with his mother.
Power up, mate. Power
but
up.
obviously,
Get out.
he's been visiting Olga, but going back to his mother's of an evening, at night to sleep.
Okay.
So he now realizes I'm married
Yeah.
with my wife and my child to be, but my mother doesn't know, and my mother can't know about this. So he spends the days and evenings with Olga, and then he returns to his mother's house at night to sleep. So his mother does not suspect anything is awry. Now, this bluff does not last long.
The last sort of 8 seconds.
And it does not take long before Elizabeth twigs what is going on. And she discovers that, indeed, her son has gone against her wishes and has married. And for Elizabeth Duncan now, this is war. And I think that's time for a break.
Yeah, let's have a drink. Nick, we have our drinks.
We do.
We have more of the mother-in-law.
More of the mother-in-law.
But I sense we should not be supporting her. Because, dear God,
yes.
I'm so invested in this story with every fibre of my being. I have thoughts on everyone in this, and based on nothing. I haven't heard the whole story. Oh, tell me everything.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously Elizabeth is now determined to do whatever it takes to get her Frank back. She harasses Olga in the street. She rocks up on her doorstep, sort of unannounced, to call her all the names under the sun. But Olga, she stands firm against this harassment, and she's not going to be bullied into going anywhere. But this stubbornness from Olga only incenses Elizabeth further and pushes her into greater fits of craziness and convinces her that she has to go much, much, much further to get rid of this troublesome daughter-in-law. I mean, she's pregnant with her grandchild, not let's forget at this point.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Elizabeth's having none of it. She's got to go. By August, Elizabeth has failed at all attempts. She's given it a good couple of months of shouting and swearing and just being annoying. That hasn't worked. So, if Olga is not going to divorce Frank, well, she'll have to do it for them.
Sorry, what now?
This is brilliant. At the beginning of August, Elizabeth turns up at the courthouse with a chap named Ralph Winterstein. They introduce themselves in the court as Frank and Olga Duncan.
Shut up. What?
And they want to get an annulment on their marriage. There is a brief hearing in the courtroom where Ralph, pretending to be Frank, claims that Olga, played by Elizabeth, had not lived with him since the marriage, that she was pregnant by another man. Olga doesn't refute any of these claims, these made-up accusations, and she says in court that it had always been a mistake. She had never intended to go through with the marriage at all.
Right.
The court grant the annulment.
No. But there needs to be evidence of their identity.
Well, you would think. Ralph and Elizabeth have successfully duped the court into wiping out her own son's marriage.
Fucking.
So the annulment is successful.
What?
So yeah, unbeknownst to Frank and Olga, they are no longer married. As far as California.
No ID.
Well, or something forged on some twigs that they put together.
Well, she's the mother, so she could give his ID. So if she's got his... Oh, God, I've worked it out. So
yeah, she may
she'll
well have something...
his birth certificate.
Yeah, so she's probably got something from Frank.
It's as you said, it's the 50s. All it matters is that the man identifies himself, maybe, in this situation.
I don't know. I mean, considering Frank's meant to be 29 by this point, marrying Olga, not Elizabeth, who is now late 50s...
He's up there. The guy's like, she's clearly let herself go.
Yes.
Can't use it.
Olga,
She's supposed to be 29.
I'm not surprised you want an annulment. I mean, yeah, exactly. This is a 29-year-old woman. She looks 60. What's going on?
I bet she's got the friend and he's about 60 as well. He's walked in with whatever they're doing. Yes, I've got stickball. Yeah, there it is. And I'm wearing my cap backwards because that's what we do in the 50s.
Whatever ruse, however they pull it off, it works. The marriage is annulled.
That's mad.
Which is bonkers.
Brilliant.
So Elizabeth later offers Ralph $1,500 to take care of Olga for good. Ralph says no, not for me.
Good for you, Ralph.
He doesn't report anything for fear of being caught up in the fraudulent annulment thing. So he doesn't say anything to anyone, but he refuses at bumping off someone.
This is where I draw the line.
That was his line.
Frequently murder is,
Yeah.
Where you draw the line.
Now, obviously, despite Elizabeth's success in annulling the marriage, it doesn't really have any practical effect. Frank and Olga don't know that they're not married anymore, so they are continuing as husband and wife.
You make a really good point.
So it's made no difference whatsoever to Frank and Olga's living arrangements or anything like that, because they're completely unaware of the whole situation.
Is it just so she can turn up and just stir a cup of tea and go, well, I think you'll find you're not married, but then they don't want to see her.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
she's-
Or she can go out, oh no, they're living in sin or something like that, and try and shame her into leaving, or Christ knows what the plan was.
Well, she was pregnant before they got married, though.
But yeah, obviously,
Which was known.
But it has no effect on
who cares?
on their living conditions or anything like that.
Very much now,
Yeah.
who cares? Back then, you needed to be married, but also, you make a good point. Who's gonna know?
Who's going to know? So Elizabeth obviously finally twigs that, okay, I've had this success,
Shit.
but it's actually practically worthless, really. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't force Frank back to his mother's house or anything. More has to be done. Olga just has to go. That's the only way round this. Olga has to go once and for all. And it was this realisation, really, that Elizabeth decides to enlist the aid of an old friend of hers. Or she takes an old friend into confidence, shall I say. And Mrs. Emma Short. Now,
Elizabeth Short.
Emma Short.
Sorry, thank you.
Mrs. Emma Short.
Wasn't the Black Dahlia then?
No. Now, Emma and Elizabeth have been friends for years. Both are now widows, and both are determined to get Frank back from Olga. Obviously, Emma has been persuaded by Elizabeth's chat about what an evil daughter-in-law Olga is. So Emma's there, absolutely, will do what it takes to get your Frank back. Emma is also suffering from early onset dementia by this point, so is somewhat susceptible to Elizabeth's ravings.
That's not funny.
It's not.
It's in context. It's not funny that happened, but she was like, I'm going to get my maddest friend.
But yeah, pretty much.
Like, you need to do this. I don't think I'm the person for the job, honestly.
But also, okay, it sounds fun.
Sounds fun. What are we talking about?
Yeah, they first discussed the idea of disfiguring Olga with acid.
Oh, Jesus, actual Christ.
That's the first, tack they discuss. But then they
Because
realise
then he'd hate her, wouldn't he?
but then they realise that, okay, well, it's not. She's still going to be around, and it may even have the opposite effect.
He may love her
He
still.
might love her more.
Yeah.
Or, it may cement their relationship that she's been through this horrific thing. So, okay, acid out of the way. No, we won't do acid.
I mean, it speaks volumes, doesn't it? It really does speak volumes. What should we do? Let's scar her face. This is about more than your son, isn't it, dear?
Yeah. Now, next on the possible murdering list, now this involves Emma, a dear old little Emma, luring Olga back to her home, where Elizabeth is lying in wait. Now, the plan was...
Does she live in a gingerbread house? And is Elizabeth going to be playing Sleeping Beauty?
Now, the plan is Olga gets settled into the parlour, have a nice cup of tea.
Right.
Elizabeth then bursts from her hiding place in the cupboard, brandishing a rope, and she would strangle Elizabeth.
What?
With her bare hands. They would then leave her hanging somewhere in the house, make sure she's dead, until later that evening when it's dark. They would then take the body to the shore and then throw it off a pier, tied down with rocks. Down she would plummet, never to be seen again.
Wow.
Plan B. That was plan B.
That's plan B.
That's plan B. Acid, plan A. Plan B, strangling rocks off a cliff.
I'm really worried about what Plan C is.
Emma, not so keen on the murder taking place in my house. Why am I luring the victim into my house? Why is she hanging in my house all day, waiting for dark?
Yes.
Emma's not so keen on that. Elizabeth, for fine fuck's sake. Getting more and more annoyed at her friend's sort of sensible. Why am I involved in this?
You are not a good friend right now.
Yeah. Fine, Elizabeth grumbles sort of thing. How about we find a killer to do it for us?
Okay.
Surely there are killers for hire out there. We can find someone who's going to do it for us. Now, Emma is unconvinced. How are these two little old ladies going to find assassins for hire?
I mean, that part I can completely understand. I know they didn't have Craigslist back then.
I mean, they run in different social circles, I feel.
Oh, you just go down the docks.
Bridge club, assassins club.
Anyone want to kill anyone we know? No one? No,
So,
okay, fine.
but Elizabeth has a plan. She has a plan in mind. She remembers a family that Frank had defended in court.
Okay.
A Mexican family that she had defended for receiving stolen goods and had got them off. Even though they were plainly guilty, he had defended them so well, they got off. These are the people. They may know someone, she thinks.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah.
The inherent racism there.
So this particular family, they own the Tropical Cafe in the Mexican quarter of Santa Barbara. And Elizabeth and Barbara totter off to try and find some killers for hire. At the Tropical Cafe, they meet Mrs. Esperanza Esquivel. Now, she's the owner of the cafe and part of the family that Frank had defended. So Elizabeth introduces herself. I'm the mother of Frank Duncan. He defended your family of these charges. She goes on to say that her daughter-in-law was blackmailing her. My daughter-in-law is blackmailing me, and she is soon to do the same to poor old Frank. Frank, who helped your family, who got them off the charges. We need to do something. Perhaps Miss Esquivel might know someone who could help make the problem go away. A price, of course. Mrs. Esquivel, slightly bemused by these two little old ladies sort of like wandering into a cafe, asking for killers, thinks and goes, yeah, I might know someone who can help.
Okay.
I come back tomorrow, and I'll set up a meeting.
Good. You would be suspicious about two well-ish-to-do white women walking into your cafe going, oh, my son defended you. I don't like my daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
Oh, she's blackmailing. So do you know anyone who can kill her? Like, you clearly know a lawyer. What happens?
The next day, Elizabeth turns up at the cafe, and there are two young lads sitting there. Augustine Balanado and Luis Moya. And, Elizabeth is directed to sit down, join these two chaps. How much? Asked Luis. Elizabeth sort of picks a random number out of the sky. $3,000. She says, $3,000. Make it 6, says Luis. Right. 3 up front, 3 on completion of the job. Elizabeth has nowhere near this money. She doesn't have a half of it. But she has a good poker face. So she says, yeah, okay. I haven't got that much on me at the moment. I've got $175 on me in my bag. You can have that. Rest when the job's done.
Not quite the same.
Yeah, not quite the same, but the chaps agree. Agree. $175. The balance, $5,825 once the job is done.
Easy.
Yeah. Now, Augustine and Lewis, not the creme de la creme of Mexican criminal underworld. It has to be said.
Right.
So they've just agreed to kill a nurse for $175, hoping that the old lady will give them an extra $5,825 afterwards.
Well, I was going to ask at this point, is this a sting operation at this point?
No.
Oh God.
No, not at all.
I was so prepped that those were two policemen sitting there going, as long as you've given me money. No, they agreed to just like $3,000. I give you $100. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, these
great.
are just two not very good criminals.
We don't know how to haggle
for cash. Yeah, but they think, okay, well, we got a bit of money up front, more money to come, so they start putting a plan into action. The pair hire a car, $25 out there, $175.
Please tell me they've got some sort of primitive Excel spreadsheet.
And they drive to Olga's address. Lewis goes up and knocks on the front door.
Yeah.
Olga answers the door, and Lewis tells her that her husband Frank is in the back of his car. He had been at a bar, they got chatting, Frank had had too much to drink, and Lewis brought him home. He's in the back of a car. Can you come down and help me get your husband out of the back of the car and bring him up to your house?
Ooh,
now,
strong.
Olga thought it a bit odd. Frank was not known as a drinker, and certainly she couldn't imagine they would frequent similar bars, potentially, but she goes, oh, okay, fine. She goes down onto the street to the car. In the back of the car, Augustine is lying under a coat, sort of moaning as if he's pissed out of his head. Olga goes down to the car, opens the back door, sort of, Frank, are you okay? Come on, let's get you inside. She leans in. Lewis is standing behind her, wallops her around the head. Olga falls unconscious into the car. Augustine grabs her, pulls her into the car, and off they go. I mean, the whole thing takes like 30 seconds or so to get Olga into the back of the car, and off they go.
Jesus.
Now, their plan is to drive and cross the Mexican border. Do the deed, kill Olga, dump her body, and drive back again. No one is ever going to find her. But things don't go to plan. Olga wakes. She regains consciousness as they're driving and begins screaming for help. Now, they cannot wait till they get to Mexico. Augustine, he is there grappling with Olga as she's trying to get out of the car, and he manages to knock her unconscious again. But yeah, so they cannot wait till they get to the Mexico border. So they turn off and head up into the hills, into the mountains. As they start going along, they see a ditch just off the main highway. They pull up to the side of the road, open the back door, and push her out down into this ditch.
Oh, okay.
Now, she rolls down into this ditch, and they realise she's not dead. She's still alive. Both of them go down. Lewis picks up a rock, bashes her over the head. Olga is no more. Now, this had not been part of the plan. They were just going to dump her in some shrubland in Mexico and they'd be done with it. But she's still in America. She's still in California at this point, and she's not that far off the road. Someone's going to find her, so they need to bury her body. They need to bury her. They didn't bring a shovel. So that had not been part of the plan. So the two of them dig a shallow grave using their bare hands to sort of scrabble and scratch out the dirt and create a shallow grave. Olga goes in, cover her up, and off they go. Olga is dead.
Jesus.
Now, meanwhile, Frank has returned home and found his wife not there.
Yeah.
Now, this is quite unusual. Olga, she's pregnant. She's not going out late of an evening or anything like that. So he's a bit concerned about where she's gone. She's not left a note going, I've gone to the shops or I've gone to see friends or anything like that. A few hours pass and she's not returned. He calls the police. Now, the police respond pretty quickly. They come to the house and they search, but they see no signs of a struggle, that she would have been taken inside. All her things are here, so she's not run off by herself or anything like that. So wait, more than likely she'll be back and everything will be okay. If she's not back by the morning, call us and we will continue this there. But I'm sure she will rock up with a perfectly reasonable explanation as to why she's not there. She doesn't, obviously. Frank phones the police and they start their investigation to try and find out what on earth has happened to Olga. 2 days later, Elizabeth receives a call from Louis Moyer.
Oy.
He is now demanding the remaining $5,825 that she owes them. The job has been done. Your daughter-in-law is dead. You owe us this money. You owe us this money. She says, I don't have the money on me at the moment. I don't have the money. Oh. She has a story ready. She says that the police have already been in touch with her about Olga's disappearance. They've already spoken to her about Olga's disappearance. And if she was to make a sudden withdrawal from the bank, such a massive withdrawal from the bank, it's going to look suspicious. It's going to look weird. Yeah. And the police are going to be all over it. So I can't give you the money now. I've got $200 in the house. I can give you that. I'll give you the rest when things calm down.
Yeah.
Lewis goes, for fuck's sake, okay. He agrees. Bring the money, leave it in the cafe.
Fools.
And we'll sort the rest of it out when things calm down. Elizabeth goes, she leaves an envelope in the cafe. Lewis goes, picks it. It's $120. Not the $200 problem. It's $120.
Oh, shortchanging them and everything.
Shortchanging some assassins now.
Yeah, they know where you live.
Yeah, indeed. Lewis is furious about this. He has been duped twice by this woman.
Yeah.
And he has committed murder for this woman. So he starts calling her daily and sort of threatening that, look, if you don't pay, the same thing's going to happen to you. The same thing that happened to Olga is going to happen to you if you don't pay us the money you owe us. Elizabeth then embarks on quite a bold plan to rid herself of these killers once and for all. She marches into the local police station.
No.
And she tells officers that she's being blackmailed by 2 Mexican ruffians who are threatening to kill her and her son, Frank, if they don't pay up. She thinks they may have had something to do with the disappearance of my darling daughter-in-law, who has also recently vanished. Perhaps they have something to do with that as well.
I'm saying don't, and you're an idiot, while I absolutely want her to do this because she's awful. Like, what are you thinking?
She tells
them
a great sob story about these horrid criminals that her son has defended in the past, that he's defended them and failed or prosecuted them and they've gone to jail, but they want revenge against Frank and his family. None of them are safe. Olga's already gone missing. It's me next, then Frank. You need to protect us against these Mexican hooligans who are going to kill us. Unbeknownst to Elizabeth, Frank has also been talking to the police about the disappearance of his wife. Yes. And he had revealed how much Elizabeth had hated Olga and the lengths that she had gone to try and stop their relationship.
Good. Okay, good that he was talking about that rather than like going,
No, he was fully upfront. My mother has been a nightmare in this. Now, authorities find Elizabeth's sudden concern for Olga somewhat at odds to Frank's sort of depiction of their relationship. And they decide that, okay, this is all a bit weird. It's all a bit suspicious. We need to do some more investigations. So they start asking sort of quiet questions around the neighbourhood, really, about Elizabeth, Olga's, Frank's, their relationship, what's going on. One of the people they talk to is Emma Short, Elizabeth's friend, who is brought into a police station and happily regales the police with everything that has been said. She has no filter. Oh, yeah, then we had some acid. That was interesting. Then she was going to bring it to my house and we were going to hang her. Then we had a lovely trip to the Mexican cafe. It was very nice. We met some lovely young men.
I love her. Dementia? Maybe not, actually. I have dementia, whatever, like that. Yep, here's a tale to tell.
Yeah, so she tells the lot.
Brilliant.
And police are going, what the fuck? Let's go. If half of this was true, my God. This is beyond mad. So, okay, we need to do something about this. So they go
famously, they do.
Yeah, so they go to the cafe and they find Lewis and Augustine. And they take them in for questioning. Does not take long before Augustine breaks.
Oh, yeah.
And he confesses. Once Lewis knows that Augustine has confessed, he then also breaks as well and says, Elizabeth Duncan, she came to us. This is what's happened. This is how much she owes us for doing this. This is what we've done. But it was all her. It was all her. They are arrested. They go to trial, but they've confessed. They are both sentenced to death. And they are executed together in the gas chamber on the 8th of August, 1962.
Good Lord.
Elizabeth, she is sent to trial separately.
Yeah.
From the two. She denies any involvement in anything to do with Olga. Yet the payments that she made to these Mexican people, they were blackmail payments. Mrs. Esquivel, she was blackmailing us for apparently bad advice that Frank had given her at trial. Yeah, that's why she was paying them off. The jury, of course, does not buy it in the slightest. Yeah. And Elizabeth Duncan is also found guilty of Olga's murder. And she, too, is sentenced to death. Elizabeth Duncan is the last woman executed in California.
Really?
Yep. Indeed, again in 1962. Her last words, "Where's Frank?"
Oh.
Well, there's a story of Ma Duncan. A crazy mother-in-law.
Nick, you brought out some Hallmark shit there. You brought out some true crime TV there. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great story.
There's a lot going on there.
That's a great story. That's a great story. Oh, there's so much to unpack. Oh, it's so juicy. Mother's love for the son.
Yeah.
Can I ask, is Elizabeth and Frank, they're white?
Yes.
Yeah, they're white. So acknowledge the inherent racism through that story. We need to find Mexicans.
Yes.
Because they apparently will commit crimes.
They're criminals. Well, it's not that they need to find Mexicans. She knew them through Frank's trial.
Yeah,
So
I'm sure he
but-
defended a lot of people, and I'm sure she
So,
went to the
yes.
Mexican people.
It's not ideal.
But that's the worst mother-in-law ever.
Well, yes, I think so. Yeah, very much high up there.
Jesus, her last words. Where's
Yeah,
Frank? Where's Frank? How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's interesting. Because Frank he appealed his mother's conviction. So as a lawyer, he appealed. It didn't work, and eventually, she was executed. But he did everything he could to prevent his mother's execution.
Yeah.
Which, no matter what they've done, you probably would.
You can't.
You can't. Still your mother at the end of the
criticize
day.
him for it because he's been raised by. He lived with her for so long, and he's been in that. Let's face it, toxic environment.
Oh, completely.
And being in a very controlling environment, even though he acknowledges it, it's still his mother.
Yeah, still his mother.
And
Exactly.
How can you send your mother to the gas chamber?
Yeah.
How can you do that? Whatever she has done, even though it sounds crazy, and you can say like from afar, like, oh yeah, fuck her off or anything, but still trying to appeal it, and her just obsession with her son. But then
till the very end.
Yeah. But then the sexy wife comes
The sexy nurse comes in.
Well, I mean, we don't know if she's sexy.
Well, she was described in some of the accounts as a good-looking lady.
To be fair, I'm sure they would have at the time, and I'm sure it doesn't matter whether she was sexy or not. Like if they had a connection, they loved each other.
Yes, indeed.
I think it's very telling the way you were talking about stuff and like the plan that she had, like the 3-stage plan. Like this one, acid. This one.
Oh, she was determined, indeed.
It was violent, though.
Yeah.
She was thinking not just to get rid of her, like an accident, because we've dealt with other cases where it's, let's run someone over with a car, let's have an accident. She wanted to eviscerate this woman.
Yeah, she wanted this woman gone.
She wanted her gone in stage 1 and stage 2. Not pretty. That is prolonged as well. And again, speaks to the mental kind of, the state of mind that she was in.
There are definitely issues there.
And Frank, you do need to fuck off your mother at some point. Just a point of...
You need to branch out at some point.
I think the fact that he had married Olga and that she was pregnant and he was still living at home.
Yeah, that's come on, Frank. That's gross and balls.
And we can completely understand if toxic familial relationship, it's not easy to walk away from it. This is completely compressed down, but this is us looking through the lens of true crime. It's not normal, but... You're living at home with your mother when you have a pregnant woman. Oh,
yeah, you have a pregnant wife living, a block away or
How's
whatever.
Olga feeling?
Yeah.
How did Olga feel? As in, like, sorry, you're going home to your mother each night or each day.
Yeah.
What about me? Who's important here? And she's the one who ends up dying. Because someone had to die.
Yeah.
Oh, what a story. I love it. I love it. I love it. Reminds me of a lot of like true crime TV that I watched.
It certainly is.
Yeah,
it deserves to be a film or something. It needs to be a TV series or... we need our own TV station, I feel.
We definitely do.
Poisonous Cabinet TV.
Oh my
And
God.
we could just have like an hour and a half sort of like episodes on some excellent murdery stories.
But just looped in our style overnight. Like 2 a.m, we're there, sitting there at some sort of counter, selling jewellery at the same time.
Yes, indeed.
And there's also there's a true crime story.
True
There
crime.
we are. That is the kind of true crime TV I want. Someone asked us that on Instagram recently, going, if you could have a TV show, what would it be? We want either complete stupidity,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I want the mad, crazy ones.
or I want that. I want us sitting up like it's QVC in our country. Like QVC sitting up and going, and here's another person who's just killed some people. And also these diamond
Also, would you like these
necklaces."
jeans?
Amazing story. Well, what do you think, people? What do you think of this story, of the whole dynamics in the relationship? What do you think of the motives behind the mother? What do you think the son should have done? What do you think about Olga? Tell us what you think. Jump on the comments of this episode. Share your thoughts, your feelings, your theories. But most importantly, do mix up the mother-in-law.
Yeah, indeed. It's gone down a treat.
It really has.
Two of them have.
Two of them have.
So, yeah.
It's rare we make two in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. It is.
Because
Indeed.
we're getting older, and every episode we go like, oh, sometimes we go, no, we need a mint tea.
Yes, make me a coffee.
We need a coffee. We need a glass of water.
Yeah.
But this week,
This
no,
one-
absolutely screw it. No, mother-in-law, second time.
Through the bourbon. The recipe will be out at some point soon. Yeah, mix it up if you can. It's not got anything outrageous in there.
No.
No, so yeah, mix it up. It's damn tasty.
Good question. What would you substitute the Montenegro Amaro for?
Oh god, that's tricksy. I mean, add a real push. You could probably do a red vermouth. Add a real push.
It wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same.
If you've got Benedictine, is that too herbally?
That's
There's
an
no-
interesting one.
It would be interesting.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably have maybe invested in Benedictine now
you
because
could,
they
you
like
could certainly
it.
try. I don't think it would be dreadful. I don't think it would be bad at all. I don't know if I think it would be quite different to what we're drinking now, but I think it would still be pleasant. So yeah, that is certainly an option.
A red vermouth or another Amaro.
Yes.
But also, fuck it. You know, like
Also, whatever you've got. Just chuck
whatever
it in.
whatever you've got, put it in.
Vodka,
Also,
brandy.
like diehard
Gin.
fans, you've invested in the Amaro by now. You've been waiting to use that Montenegro.
Some green chartreuse, chuck it in there. Delicious.
You'll bleed from your eyes, but it'll be lovely. Yes, mix those up. Whatever you are drinking, whenever you're listening to this episode, please tag us on social media, predominantly Instagram. You can tag us on Blue Sky. You can tag us on TikTok. Send us messages and pictures of whatever cocktails you're drinking or cocktails we should be making in the future. Join us on Patreon to get more episodes from us every single week. And please leave us a review on Apple iTunes and also wherever you listen to your podcast, because that helps us keep doing what we do. Thanks for listening, guys. We have been the people inside the Poisoner's Cabinet. We will see you next week. And remember, your loved ones are trying to kill you.
Bye.